25.5% for 4 months. Valuable FD.
Anka ege arakshita itigini petti. Surya gini petti.
A very good evening. It's the 12th of November 2022. Welcome to Primetime News here on TV1. For the Newsfirst team, where the people come first, I'm Selita Senanayaka. Before we take a look at the stories that we've got for you this evening in detail, let's take a look at the headlines.
Police obstruct a march by two mothers demanding release of Vasantha Mudalige and Siri Dammatero. Why are UNPS protesting opposite the Chinese embassy if the IMF is extending relief? Hirunika questions the president. Sri Lanka's High Commissioner to India, Milinda Morogoda, meets Indian National Security Advisor. Two missing in Suryawaba after boat topples. Body of a 10-year-old girl found. Men's T20 World Cup finals tomorrow.
On to your top story this evening. The protest march demanding the release of Inter-University Students Federation convener Vasantha Mudalige and Venerable Galvava Siri Dammatero was obstructed by the police in Panadura. The protest march, carried out by two women, started in Kaluthara.
The protest march started near the Kaluthara Bodhiya at about 9:30 a.m. on Saturday. It's been 84 days since those two boys were arrested under the PTA, and we request this government to acquit and release them as soon as possible because they took to the streets at a time when the children of this country were starving. They have been imprisoned under the PTA. We are of the stance that they are not terrorists. However, the police obstructed the two women near the Kaluthara bridge by blocking the road. The protesters, who remained at the location for half an hour, proceeded by bus to Kaluthara North and then walked to Waduwa. The Waduwa police too obstructed the group.
දෙන්නට පාර යන්න බෑ. මොකක්ද නීතිය? මොකක්ද තියෙන නීතිය? පොඩ නීතියක් තියෙනවද පෙන්වන්න පුළුවන්ද? ඉතින් මට පෙන්වන්න පුළුවන්ද කොහෙද තියෙන්නේ? ඉතින් කොහෙද නීතියක් තියෙන්නේ? ඒක නීතිය කියන්න දෙන්න අන්න එහෙම කරන්න එපා. මාත්‍යෝ. එහෙම කරන්න ගන්න එපා. එහෙම අදින්න එපා. සිවිල් පුරවැසියෝ අපි. පාරෙන් අයින් ගන්න. පාරෙන් අයින් ගන්න හරි. ඔයගොල්ලෝ පාර අරස් කරන් ඉන්නේ අපි නෙමෙයි. මොන දෙයක් කියන්නේ?
The group reached the Panadura town on foot and using motorbikes despite the police obstruction. Police questioned the two individuals in Panadura once again. The protesters were taken into police custody in Gorakapala, Panadura. When News First inquired into this, police said a group of officers from the Panadura South Police visited the location for an inspection. The police said an unidentified car arrived at the location and attempted to flee the area together with the two protesters. The police then went after the group and arrested them. 5 people who were arrested in connection with the incident were released on bail. Several factions commented on the protest carried out by a group of people, including the UNP Sitawaka Pradesha Sabha member Shashi Hettiarachchi, opposite the Chinese embassy on Friday. The group demanded China assists Sri Lanka in its debt restructuring program. During Friday's protest, the group pointed out that China, which facilitated a large sum of loans to the Rajapaksa regime, should also extend their help to the people of Sri Lanka by assisting with debt restructuring.
If ambassadors can meet world leaders, then there is no issue in visiting like that. The president has told us that we can get help from China. China and India have provided loans to other countries. There may be issues in managing them. We believe they will assist us to recover from this situation.
The president gave a speech in parliament in English while adjusting his trousers. He spoke as if China agreed and matters with the IMF had concluded. Last afternoon's incident involved a UNP Pradesha Sabha member and a group from the UNP which was previously involved with the Aragalaya. They got what they wanted since one of their own became the president. They are not part of the Aragalaya anymore. They went to the Chinese embassy to give a letter demanding China's help to restructure Sri Lanka's debt. In parliament, the president is saying China agreed. If so, why is he sending his followers to the Chinese embassy? Sri Lanka won't receive relief from the IMF. After 3 strenuous months, the country will fall into a dangerous situation.
Yesterday's protest made us laugh because it is the president's own party which protested opposite the embassy. This shows the president's incompetence. They have failed in managing the international political situation. How can we get their help if these protests are taking place? China is retaliating because Ranil Wickremesinghe's faction made India-friendly decisions recently. This is how they respond to China. Sri Lanka's High Commissioner to India, Milinda Morogoda, met with the National Security Advisor of India, Sri Ajit Kumar Doval, on Saturday, the 12th of November, in New Delhi to review the current status of the Sri Lanka-India relations. According to a media release, the meeting was held as a part of the regular and ongoing dialogue between the duo. The release added discussions focused on a range of issues pertaining to the mutual interests of the two countries, as well as priority areas for future cooperation. We'll go in for a short commercial break. Stay with News First.
News First, main sponsor.
25% for 2 months, 25.5% for 4 months. Valuable FD.
Anka ege araksita itigini petti. Surya gini petti.
A trusted place for your fixed deposit. Valuable FD. 25% for 2 months, 25.5% for 4 months. Valuable FD. The symbol of stability.
Ivan satutin inne wiring karala. Wiring kirwe Eslon Polycon yodala.
For your safety and the protection of the wires used in networking and AC wiring, Eslon Polycon cable trunking.
Lovatama Elia denna dilena Surya. Amataka vinne manati namake Surya. Ohotin dalvena gini kura Surya. Kavadat namagat gini petti Surya. කවදත් නමගත් ගිනි පෙට්ටි සූර්යා කවදත් කොතනත් සමගේ විශ්වාසය දිනාගත් අංක 1 ආරක්ෂිත ඉටි ගිනි පෙට්ටි සූර්යා ගිනි පෙට්ටි.
Welcome back to the news. The body of the 10-year-old girl was found this evening after 3 girls went missing when a boat toppled in the Mahavelikadara River in Surya River. Water levels of the Mahavelikadara River have reached high levels. At around 10 a.m., 8 people from Pihimbua in Kurunegala visited Surya River to attend a family event. They climbed onto a boat to enjoy the scenery of the river. The boat, steered by a youth from the area, had toppled shortly thereafter. The group included an 8-month-old infant. Villagers who intervened were able to rescue 5 people, including the infant. However, 3 girls, aged 10, 17 and 18, were missing.
At about 4:40 p.m., the body of the 10-year-old girl was found.
Operations to locate the 2 remaining girls are continuing. Operations are being carried out by police, lifeguard teams and the Navy. We would like to remind the public to be vigilant when visiting rivers and water bodies. If not, you too could face a similar unfortunate situation.
In
more local news, investigations into the death of a teenage girl in Bemmul area in Gampaha continues.
Crime Watch.
A 16-year-old teenage girl, a resident of Katua Gasgoda village in Veyangoda, died in Bulat Gangoda area of Bemmulla. Relatives say the girl was living with a young man in a house separate from her parents. According to her parents, since the girl was a minor, she was referred to court, detained at a state-run detention centre in Ranmutugala until the verdict was delivered, and then sent to a juvenile detention centre in Narahenpita. She was then sent to school from the detention centre. The victim's relatives said during this time, the 26-year-old male, who maintained a close relationship with the girl, took her to the house in Bemmulla once again. It was here that the girl had died. The Director General of Gampaha District General Hospital said the girl was already dead upon admission to the hospital on Friday morning.
A dead body of a deceased woman was brought to our accident and emergency department yesterday. The body was brought by a male person and it was found that the lady was died and found that there were evidence of assault. The doctors has inquired about the injuries and the person has told that woman was attacked by a gang of people. Then we informed the incident to the hospital police, and later on we found that the person who brought the body to the hospital has disappeared from the hospital premises.
Police arrested a 26-year-old male as well as another suspect in connection with the incident on Friday. The suspects who were produced before the Gampaha acting magistrate this afternoon have been remanded until the 24th of November.
Crime Watch.
A detainee who escaped from the Kandakadu Treatment and Rehabilitation Centre has died after being hospitalized.
The detainee who escaped from the Kandakadu Treatment and Rehabilitation Centre was found on the 10th of November in the Singhapura forest in Valikanda. He died upon admission to the Polonnaru Hospital on Friday the 11th. Police spokesperson SSP Nihal Taldua said the escapee had not eaten in days and had starved to death. The deceased is 31-year-old Muhan Kumara, who was directed to the Kandakadu Rehabilitation Centre by the Kaduvela Magistrates Court. On the 6th of this month, a brawl broke out between two groups at the Kandakadu Treatment and Rehabilitation Centre over a bucket used for bathing. Rehabilitation Commissioner General, Major General Darshana Hettiarachchi said further operations are underway to find 10 detainees who escaped on that day.
We'll go in for another commercial break. Stay with us.
අයිවන් සතුටින් ඉන්නේ වයරින් කරලා වයරින් කිරුවේ එස්ලොන් පොලිකොන් යොදලා.
For your safety and the protection of the wires used in networking and AC wiring, Eslon Polycon cable trunking.
Welcome back to the news. The Ceylon Petroleum Corporation says the price of diesel and kerosene have been increased with effect from midnight on Friday.
A litre of diesel has been increased by 15 rupees and the new price is at 430 rupees. 1 litre of kerosene has been increased by 25 rupees and the new price is set at 365 rupees. As Sipetco increased the prices, Lanka IOC amended their prices as well. Fisherfolk are one of the communities whose livelihoods are most affected when diesel and kerosene prices are altered.
An oil needs to be mixed with kerosene. After that oil is mixed, a litre of kerosene becomes 600 rupees. It costs 6,000 to 7,000 rupees to set sail and come back. We need 100 to 200 litres for a long trip. It will cost us between 60,000 to 70,000 rupees. How can fishermen get by? It is not the fishermen, farmers or consumers that cause losses from fuel. It is the rulers. It takes a lot of fuel to maintain these ministers.
Will the price increase affect bus fares?
Short distance bus operators will have to incur a cost of 1,500 rupees daily from today. Interprovincial bus operators will have to incur a cost of 3,300 rupees. They cannot bear this. We cannot increase bus fares as well. But if diesel prices increase again, bus fares will be increased.
Speaking in Parliament on Wednesday, State Minister of Power and Energy D.V. Chanaka said the government incurs a loss of 12 and 22 rupees per litre of diesel and kerosene.
ඇත්තම තත්ත්වය ගත්තොත් මේ වෙලාවේ ඩීසල් වල රුපියල් 12ක පාඩුවක් තියෙනවා. ඒ වගේම කෙරොසින් වල ගත්තම රුපියල් 22ක පාඩුවක් තියෙනවා.
However, the petroleum trade unions point out that there are deals being made behind the price increase.
Diesel barrel එකක් රාජ්‍යමිති කියන විදියට.
According to the state minister, if the price of a diesel barrel is $134, the premium must be 329 rupees. That 329 rupees was sold to the public for 415 rupees on the 9th, and the government is incurring a loss of 12 rupees. The price was increased yesterday at midnight by 15 rupees to cover that loss, making the new price 430 rupees. This is a scam. The shipments called Ural were ordered during the past 2 months. A crude oil barrel in the shipment that is already ordered, which cost $8.1 million, is $55. Even though we purchased it for $75, it costs 175 rupees to make a litre of kerosene at our refineries. Even if we add all expenses, the kerosene litre, which could have been sold for 200 rupees, is being sold for 340 rupees to this day. As of today, they closed the refinery for 34 days by importing fuel for a wasteful price and implementing the controversial price formula. They purchased jet fuel for a greater price after closing down the place which produced kerosene by 105% and unloaded the burden on the people.
What is a premium? A premium is an intermediate profit. The document issued by the Ministry of Power and Energy on the 3rd of October via Twitter explained how crude oil prices are determined. It does not mention kerosene. However, the situation in terms of diesel is mentioned. As per the Platt rates, a barrel of diesel was purchased at $133.06. The premium paid per barrel was 20 cents. In general, this amount is charged at $5 to $6. However, today we have to pay 2 or 3 times that amount. The $20 paid per barrel does not include costs such as taxes, transport costs, administrative and other costs. Who gets the money? These are the profits collected by the intermediary groups. The situation regarding kerosene is much worse. The Sapugaskanda oil refinery produces kerosene for Sri Lanka. On the 7th of October, the refinery was closed due to a lack of crude oil. The shipment carrying the crude oil has been at sea for 54 days, incurring a massive demurrage cost. As of now, demurrage charges amount to more than 2.75 billion rupees. Against such a backdrop, jet fuel is being imported to the country to be used as kerosene. While highlighting the dollar shortage, refined fuel is being imported with a large sum being paid as premiums, all this while paying demurrage to the crude oil tanker. Money is being ripped from the hands of the people to line pockets of a few. Unless such activities are not put to an end, the crisis Sri Lanka is facing could go from bad to worse.
They are making jokes while the people are struggling. They are increasing and decreasing the prices without a particular reason or considering the changes in global prices. They are not focusing on the plight of general public. They pay attention to the elites. The price of super diesel and high-octane petrol is not being increased. This shows the government only works to protect the economy of Colombo 7 and the elite class.
The hill country community has been left helpless in the face of the rising cost of living. Their daily wages are no more than 1,000 rupees, while the cost of essential goods have skyrocketed. The price of diesel and kerosene also increased on Friday. The people living in the hill country depend heavily on kerosene as a result of the gas shortage and power crisis. The price of a litre of kerosene is now at 365 rupees. The price of wheat flour, which they consume regularly, has not reduced either. Wheat flour is being sold in the market for between 300 and 350 rupees, which means with a salary of no more than 1,000 rupees per day, the residents of these areas do not have enough money left to spend on other essentials.
තාල් කිලෝ එකයි පොල් ගෙඩියයි තව එළවලුවක් ගන්නකොට රුපියල් 10 ඉවරයි.
පතෝල මිනිස්සු ඔක්කොම රොටි තමයි කන්නේ. ආල් ගාන වැඩි. පොල් ගෙඩියක් ගන්න කියන රුපියල් 100යි. පිටි කිලෝ 350යි. ජීවිතෙන්න බෑ.
බබාලට හරියට කෑම වේලක්වත් දෙන්න මදි. තුන් වේලට හරියට කෑම දෙන්න විදිහක් නැහැ. එක වේලයි හරියට දෙන්න පුළුවන්නේ. දැන් බබාලගේ පෝෂණෙත් හරිම අඩුයි.
News First with the people.
Earlier this week, Sri Lanka joined the Mangrove Alliance for Climate at the ongoing 27th summit of the Conference of Parties, or COP27, at Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt. Other members in this alliance include Australia, Japan, UAE, Indonesia, Spain and India.
Speaking at the COP27, India Union Minister for Environment, Forest and Climate Change called mangroves the most productive ecosystems of the world. He said that the mangrove shrubs that often grow in brackish water can absorb 4 to 5 times more carbon emissions than the tropical forests. Mangrove forests are viewed as very resilient because they can survive in extremely hot weather conditions and even low levels of oxygen. They are mostly found in tropical and subtropical regions, with the Sundarbans in West Bengal being the largest mangrove forest in the world. The United Arab Emirates, along with Indonesia, took the initiative to form this alliance at the ongoing COP27 summit in Egypt. The main objectives are to improve the pace and scale of mangrove conservation as well as restoration across the world.
The Indian High Commissioner to Sri Lanka, Gopal Bagle, says India greatly values the living bond between the Indian origin Tamil community in Sri Lanka and India. He made this statement at a book launch in Colombo today.
The book titled Ilangai Malayaga Tamilar Varalatil Sila Tulihal, authored by P.P. Devaraj, was officially launched in Colombo today. P.P. Devaraj handed over a copy to the Indian High Commissioner to Sri Lanka, Gopal Bagle. The Indian High Commissioner, speaking at the event, highlighted the importance of India's relationship with the Indian origin Tamil community in Sri Lanka.
The government of India has consciously followed a policy to remain not only in touch but to look after the interests of these communities. For us, they may be citizens of another country, but their Indian origin, their Indian roots are equally important. Not merely as a cultural and civilizational bond, but also as an organic bridge between the respective countries. And this is one of the most important aspects of our relations, India's relations with the Indian origin Tamil community in Sri Lanka. But the basic fact, the basic premise, the basic reason for India looking after these communities and these aspects and being concerned about and feeling about is it's the organic link, the living bond that exists between these communities and India.
Biz Fast.
According to the central bank, the amount of foreign remittances to Sri Lanka last October was $355.4 million. According to the central bank, Sri Lanka received $2,929.4 million in remittances from January to October 2022. In more local news, opposition leader Sajith Premadasa says that instead of suppressing those engaged in protests representing the youth of the country, an election must be held as soon as possible. Venerable Siridhamma Thero and Wasantha Mudalige have been arrested under the PTA. They arrested the people who spoke up and represented the youth and the public of this nation. I want to raise this question. The Rajapakshas who destroyed this entire nation are free. They are enjoying a luxurious life. This is because the president, who the Rajapakshas helped come into power, is protecting them. The government has set them free and has placed taxes on the shoulders of the citizens in order to recover the economy instead of punishing and reclaiming stolen assets by the Rajapakshas. We are totally against this. Call for an election. Do not plan on conspiracies in order to avoid elections. The opposition leader Sajith Premadasa expressed these views while participating in the Samagi Jana Balawegya Balamandal meeting in Duramgaslanda today. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs says that 3 Sri Lankans were rescued from a fire in a garage in Malé, Maldives.
The Sri Lanka High Commission in Malé, Maldives has reported that 3 Sri Lankan nationals have been rescued and evacuated by the rescue team from the scene of the incident of the fire outbreak which occurred on the 10th of November 2022 in a garage in Malé. According to Foreign Ministry release, the 3 Sri Lankans have been working at a garage in Malé and were accommodated in a separate room on the ground floor of the garage building. The release said they were able to escape unharmed when the fire had started in the early hours on the 10th of November 2022. The Sri Lanka High Commission in Malé says the 3 Lankan nationals are in good health and adequate food and all other facilities are being arranged by the employer.
Day 2 of Sri Lanka's most prestigious wedding exhibition event, the Wedding Show 2022, concluded at the BMICH a little while ago. The wedding show is now on its 16th consecutive year. News First, Naveksha Gunasekara brings us the latest.
The Wedding Show 2022 kicked off yesterday after a long break owing to the COVID-19 outbreak, with the participation of more than 250 industry professionals. With Sri Lanka experiencing its worst economic crisis since independence, the theme for this year's event is Sri Lanka Can.
Your wedding day marks a new beginning of your life, and I'm currently here at the BMICH at the Wedding Show 2022. And if you are planning on getting married anytime soon, this is where you've got to be, because you can get all the services under one roof if you head over to the BMICH. From your outfit to the photographer to the decorations and to everything, you name it, they've got it here at the Wedding Show 2022. Sirasa TV is the proud media partner of the Wedding Show 2022, and we've got something very special organized for those who are talented in presenting and news reading. That is, if you drop by to the BMICH, make sure you visit our special tech bus, because we've got screen tests ready for those who are talented in presenting and news reading, and our teams will be here today and tomorrow. So if you come by, you can be a part of that experience as well. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Naveksha Gunasekara.
Sirasa TV is the official electronic media partner of the Wedding Show 2022.
The Mahakarambeva village in Putlam is a beautiful village with 530 families. But these families have suffered for years without clean water. Government is ready to begin a project to set up a water purification system in this village on Sunday.
The villages of Mahakarambeva, Karuwalagaswava in the district of Putlam are predominantly daily wage earners and farmers. Life is hard, and the economic crisis in Sri Lanka has amplified their challenges. In the midst of these challenges, these villagers have no choice but to consume water with high salinity levels. Unable to drink this water, the villagers are forced to purchase clean drinking water. Many suffer from kidney diseases after having to consume this water, which is unsuitable for human consumption for a long period of time.
Gammadda, which has always been with the people and serving the people's needs, is here to commence yet another project, which is a RO drinking water project. I'm currently reporting to you from the Mahakarambeva village in the Putlam district. Now, this is a small village where over 530 families reside, but unfortunately, due to the absence of clean drinking water, these people have been facing several inconveniences. Now, the Gammadda team arrived at this site this morning for this project, and as you can see, currently the preparations for the commencement ceremony, which is due to be held tomorrow, is currently underway. Now, the significance of this project is that the donors for this project is the St. Peter's College, and this is conducted in commemoration of their 100th anniversary. So this is the current situation, and tomorrow morning the commencement ceremony will be taking place. So for the Newsfirst team, I'm Rochelle Tumodra.
Thanks to the generous support of St. Peter's College, Bambalapitia, and together with the technical assistance of Sri Lanka Navy, Gammadda will initiate an RO drinking water project on Sunday. The people of Mahakarambeva and surrounding villages will all benefit from this project to quench the thirst of innocent Sri Lankans.
In some news from the United States, President Joe Biden's Democrats have inched closer to keeping control of the Senate with a projected win in Arizona following the midterm elections.
3 days after Americans voted, Democrat Mark Kelly has beaten Republican challenger Blake Masters. That would leave the Senate at 49 Democratic seats and 49 Republican seats. Just Nevada and Georgia are yet to be decided. The vote count in Nevada is neck and neck, while Georgia's race will be settled by a runoff election next month. If Democrats win either of the two remaining races, they will remain in control of the upper chamber of Congress because the U.S. Vice President can cast a tie-breaking vote on their behalf. Republicans could still take control of the U.S. House of Representatives as votes continue to be tallied from a handful of districts after Tuesday's elections. If the Republicans win either or both chambers of Congress, they could thwart much of Biden's agenda.
Ukrainian soldiers have been welcomed into Kherson by jubilant residents after Russia said it had fully withdrawn from key southern city. However, UK Ministry of Defence says it is highly likely Russian troops destroyed roads and rail bridges from the Dnipro River as part of their retreat.
There have also been celebrations around Ukraine, including in Kyiv and Odessa. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky described the day as historic, while Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba has said the Ukrainians are winning the battles on the ground, but that the war continues. The UK's Defence Secretary Ben Wallace says Russia's retreat from Kherson marks another strategic failure for Moscow. Wallace says the Russian army has suffered a huge loss of life as a result of the illegal invasion and has only achieved international isolation and humiliation. UK Ministry of Defence says it's highly likely Russian troops destroyed roads and rail bridges over the Dnipro River as part of their retreat.
The long-awaited T20 World Cup Finals is set to get underway tomorrow, and it features a mouth-watering clash between England and Pakistan.
The Melbourne Cricket Ground is anticipating around 100,000 spectators for tomorrow's game. Pakistan will go into the game tomorrow hoping to bag their second T20 title after 2009. England won the T20 World Cup title in the year 2010. However, they also became runners-up in the year 2016. Pakistan enters the finals thanks to a great performance in the Super 12 rounds, defeating one of the pre-tournament favourites, New Zealand. Meanwhile, England ended India's dreams of a World Cup final against Pakistan. England captain Jos Buttler says that his side expects to display the skills shown in the previous matches in the final as well. Pakistan captain Babar Azam said that although his side were not among the best at the beginning of the tournament, they've managed to turn things around and hope to come out on top in the finals. The two sides have met twice before in the T20 World Cup history. England won on both occasions. Anticipating possible rain interruptions to the game, the tournament organisers have set aside Monday as a reserve day and have allocated an additional 2 hours of play. However, if the game cannot be played with each side facing at least 10 overs, England and Pakistan will be declared joint champions. Tomorrow's match starts at 1:30 p.m. and will be telecast live on Sirius TV, the official local broadcasting rights holder of the T20 World Cup.
The annual AIDEX Sports Meet for the Disabled, organised by the Colombo Friend in Need Society, is set to take place at the Rifle Greens grounds in Colombo on Sunday.
The Colombo Friend in Need Society, which supplies artificial limbs for amputees throughout the island, organises a sport festival called AIDEX every year. The event is held as a part of a rehabilitation for the disabled who use dry poor limbs and arms, as well as to provide a platform for differently able members of the society. The event is being held at the Rifle Green Grounds, Air Force Headquarters, Sir Chittambalam, A. Gardinamawatha, Colombo 2, from 9 a.m. on Sunday, the 13th of November. The event is being held for the first time in 2 years due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
And that brings us to the end of this edition of Primetime News here on TV1. For more details on these stories, you can log on to our website, that is www.newsfirst.lk. For the Newsfirst team, I've been Senita Senanayake. Take care and stay safe.